So what is going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of MGC. I know it's been a bit, but I'm back uh, doing some work on the 80s, so I thought I'll take you guys through it. This was some needed maintenance, basically with the ride quality. Since I purchased this vehicle, as you can see, it's actually up on the jack. That's why it's sitting a bit high. But since I purchased this vehicle, I've done a lot to increase the ride quality. And that's had to do with a bunch of bushings. We got stabilizer bar bushings already done. The big cost was these radius arm bushings. You guys know that the 80 is a solid axle vehicle, front and rear, which is what makes it such an off-road beast. And I basically had collapsed bushings, which you probably saw in the previous video, where you saw those bushes and how bad the condition was. So there are 3 bushes per radius arm, and you get 6 in total, of a total cost of about maybe $200. So this was a big one, and I put it off for a bit, but I thought I'll get it done now because we're also working on the power steering pump. Yeah, you guys know I had a leak with my power steering pump, and it basically needed some seals. So today we've got the steering pump out, and gonna get it totally rebuilt with new seals and everything, and at the same time get those radius arms done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for more episodes on the way. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and enjoy. So guys, as you can see with the car on jack stands, you can see the beefy underneath of this. You can see those huge coil springs. You can see our wonderful axle in the front. You got our panhard bar over there, and the radius arms, which actually usually attach right there and right there, and they run through and they hold that axle in place. So we've got those out for now as we replace that, so we can just get a good look at the beefy guts of the Land Cruiser 80. You guys know we rebuilt that swivel hub. As you can see, there's no more leaks on that side. That had a lot more grease being thrown all over the place. Alright, so these are our radius arms. These are the bushes that were worn out, so we're just replacing them. If you could just show me how it was loose. Which one was really loose? So you can see the
breakage here.
Yeah, you can see the breakages and how loose they are. So these are probably the original bushes. So we're gonna install the new ones, which I have somewhere here, and get these new ones pressed in. There's 6 in total, 2 large, 1 small, and 2 sizes. So these are genuine bushes. And then we have a power steering. We have the power steering pump. It's come off the car, still got a bit of fluid in it. The leak was coming from here, so we're gonna change the gaskets and get this rebuilt and cleaned up and reinstall it to the car. Here's another really loose bush, in fact totally cracked, so this is giving me a shitty kind of ride, so we want to change that. And so there she is. While the car is on stands, I get to have a look at it and see how high it is. This would be if I had like a 4-inch lift. It's probably how the car would look, but it's interesting. And yeah, quick garage update, I guess. I mean, we have my Benz over there. We have the good old beast of an 80 and my trusty Cygnus, trusty as always, good old Cygnus. So 2007, 98, 96, pretty decent. So with the radius arm bushings, those obviously have to be pressed in. So I've sent them out to go and get pressed in. They've been removed from the vehicle, and once that's done, you just refit them. Not a big deal. Power steering, I'm gonna have to replace and get some more fluid, but it just uses the usual Dextron fluid, so it's not so much of a big deal. So once again, Sunday work, maintaining the vehicle, so everything is working well. One more thing we want to go through is when I got this vehicle, I did my first oil change, and I actually changed the vehicle onto 5W30 fully synthetic. And the oil that came out, I could tell the previous owner wasn't really bothering with oil. Even the oil filter that came out was some kind of Chinese oil filter. So I always put genuine parts. So I put the right oil filter in, and I had initially put the 5W30 oil, which is tried and tested. I love that oil, Mobil 1, fully synthetic. But as I ran that oil for the first time, I realized it is a bit of a lighter oil. And you know the big 80, we've got a 1FZFE, kind of like a tractor motor, and it's done about 200,000 kilometers. So I wanted to go for slightly thicker oil. Did my research, did a lot of research, and at the end I felt like a 10W would suit me well. Basically a 5W, what it means, the W means is the winter temperature. So if the temperature is really cold, we're talking, negative degrees, then that oil really helps to be circulated well in the morning, so you don't get any knocking of any of the shafts or anything like that. But I realized that we're in Nairobi, equatorial climate, it's pretty chilled. So I would usually go for a 5W40, but in this case I went for a 10W40. So it's a slightly thicker oil, works better with the high mileage engine. And so that's what I'm trying right now. And it's not a fully synthetic, it's a semi-synthetic. So it's my first time trying a semi-synthetic. Even in the Benz, I'm using a fully synthetic. Cygnus, I'm using Mobil 1 5W30. But in the 80, we've changed it up to this, and I wanna test it out and see how it is. So far, it's working really well. The car feels really strong, and I did do an engine flush. So one more thing that I thought is good to mention is an engine flush. I mean, if you guys ever purchase a vehicle, an older vehicle or something you're not sure of how it's been maintained, put in an engine flush. It's a simple compound. I use the brand is called Zado, and I put in that engine flush in my Benz, and I've also now put it in the 80, and I think it works really well. I put it in when I knew I was close to being ready to change the oil once again. So I put that engine flush in. My oil burner takes about 8 liters of oil, so you put about 2 cans of this fluid, which is maybe 250 ml each, so maybe 500 ml of this fluid, and I ran it for about 500 kilometers. So I put it in the engine and I ran the car for another 500 kilometers, which is supposed to do quite an intensive clean. And I've now done that 500 kilometers, and I've already switched the oil out and put the brand new oil in, the 10W40 semi-synthetic. So it's been working well these last few days. I'll report more when I know more. But so far, I think this car likes slightly thicker oil. So that's just a little heads up on oil for the 1FZ FE Land Cruiser 80 series. Alright, so we're back. Our radius arms are back. You can see the new bushes have been pressed in. Bit of grease. These are gonna go in the car now. So we've got our power steering pump back here. You can see, have had it rebuilt. Told there was a seal over here in the middle. I got that replaced, so it looks pretty dry. And the seal on this side as well. So this is ready to go back in the vehicle now as well, nice and clean. As you saw in the previous clips, we did all that work, got all the bushes set in to those radius arms, and also we've got brand new fresh oil in this engine, 10W40 semi-synthetic. Car is running really well. Unfortunately, haven't driven it in the last several days, and for some reason it won't start today. So I think it's the battery's dead, so I'm gonna have to jump start it, and then we can get started. But as you can see, we got the work done on the engine and then cleaned this area out. We did have the leak. The leak was not coming from here, which we previously thought. It was coming from the pump. So I've rebuilt the pump, new seals and everything, and then we did a good cleanup. So reinstalled the pump, then I didn't have power steering, had to turn the wheels. Basically we made the mistake of putting the fluid before actually starting the vehicle and then putting the fluid after. So it was a bit more difficult, but we managed at the end, and it did come into line. So let's just plug the battery in to the Cygnus and get this started up. Well, that's Sunday morning for you. The three wonderful vehicles: Land Cruiser Cygnus, big old 80, and my 202 Benz. Alright, so we're in the 80. Just want to give you a little review of how the car feels. The first change already that I notice is as soon as I make the gear shift, as soon as I go from park to drive. Previously, when I used to do that, there was a big jerk. You know, I thought my transmission was almost struggling to get into gear, but it was those damn radius arm bushings that were totally collapsed. So the whole car had play. So when I would shift from park to drive, it would have that big clunk. But now, clunk is gone. Much better. Power is great with this 10W40 oil. The car has almost got more grunt to it. You know, the engine feels like it prefers this. It prefers this a bit more than the last oil I had in. You know, it's not that the road is totally smooth right now. This is the same road I go on every morning. It's not totally smooth. You know, it's got a little bumps and sort of cracks in it. But with these new bushings, I'm blown away by how this 80 drives. Solid axle in the front, solid axle in the rear, and yeah, I did not expect this, I must say that. Now I do understand why so many people say that, you know, the 80, despite being solid axles front and rear, is really one of the more comfortable cars. So quick review if you guys have an 80, get those bushings done. It's a bit of a pricey job, but makes all the difference. And yeah, the car is driving really well, and good bunch of work done. We've tested and I've not seen any leaks from that power steering, so that seems to be good. And here, just another step on the way of restoring this vehicle to its full glory. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoy, hit like, subscribe, comment down below, let me know what you think. I try and put out a video whenever I can. I do get busy. You guys know I got the snacks company, so if you're seeing Cheeky Treats snacks coming up to shops near you, make sure you support, pick some up. I put a lot of effort into these, and my team as well, and they're really tasty stuff. I'm a bit picky about snacks, so try it out. I'm sure you guys will appreciate. Anyways, until the next one, peace.